Welcome to the Menopause Coach Podcast with me, your host as always, Adele Johnston, your menopause coach and educator for this episode today. And like always, it goes without saying, right? You're here for your own entertainment and educational purposes. This is not to replace any medical or any type of guidance that you need for you. This is important. We have to say these things, okay? It keeps us right. I want to ask you something. Not the sort of question that you might ever be asked before or answer out loud, right? It's one of these things I posted this morning into my Instagram voice notes and shares because I'd had a really big download today. And when I woke up, I was like, I have to share this with people. So this is a sort of question that for many of us, whenever we're asked anything like this, it maybe sits in your chest or it sits in your belly space. When was the last time that you did something simply because you wanted to? You did. Not because someone else needed you, not because it was productive, not because it was work related, not because it was expected, not because it made sense that you were the one that did it, but because you actually wanted to do something in a moment, a split second decision. You know, I think back to things like when we're maybe walking along, a beach on holiday and it's like, I'm going to go and just get into the water and go for a swim. But something stops us doing it because then we slip into our physical body and we're like, but how do I get back out when I'm in? I'm going to get my hair wet. I'm not wearing the right bikini. All the things start to then come in where it stops us from doing something that we've wanted to do in a moment. I think this is a really important topic, which is obviously why I'm here, talking about it with you. But I woke up this morning and I thought, this is something I need to be able to share. I need to share it with you. I need to be able to process it real time with you, because in these moments where we think about something that we truly want to do, it can be grandeur or it can be the smallest little thing, like I just want to grab my book and read a chapter right now because, maybe it's raining outside and you think, I just want to grab my blanket, sit on my little love seat and read a chapter of my book. Maybe that brings you joy in that moment. But there's an expectation that you're actually going to go prepare the dinner or you're going to join this team meeting that never ends up being productive. And you just think, I don't want to do that. I want to get my book and sit on the sofa. So these are really important moments for us because when we sit inside the stillness of a want, it's like you've heard me talk openly about in other episodes, the permission slip to be you, that sometimes we need someone else to give us that permission before we act upon it. But I want you to really think about this from the life that you keep postponing, the small little things you keep putting off for yourself. That is your moment where every single micro moment creates this compound effect of growth of you. Every micro moment that you prevent yourself from doing because of something else or someone else's wants, needs, or desires, that is where you are slowly but surely preventing yourself from that expansion and growth. And for some of you, the answer might be that you've done something for yourself today or something for yourself yesterday, or maybe you can't remember when that was because it's been years. And it's those of you that can't remember that this episode is truly, truly for. Because I don't actually think that we as women forget how to dream and how to, be inside the expansion of self energy fields of I want to go do this. This feels right for me right now. I don't think that we actually dramatically abandon ourselves in the process of trying to show up and serve others, whether we're parents or we're in demanding careers or business settings. I think that slowly but surely over the years, over the decades, not in a dramatic force, we've just quietly learned the behaviors of abandonment. We've learned to stay small because as children, we've talked about this before, as children, as young girls, we're kind of expected to not be loud or not be too loud, to not be too much, to not be a show off, to, downplay the achievements, and to think about everyone else before ourselves. It was expected, right? Societal expectations, human expectations. To be grateful for things even when we're feeling sad, to be sensible with decisions we make, not to get the tattoo or the piercing, to be kind, to be loving, to always smile. These are all set upon us as expectations. But none of these things are innately bad in themselves. It's over time when we've learned these behaviors that when we've been pleasing to others, we've been accepted. Oh, honestly, when this hit me and I was like, oh my God, this has been me in the past. Yeah. Till we put ourselves at the forefront of importance, at the forefront of self-love, self-connection, we never truly will actually connect to what it is that we want. So we learn something so dangerous from such a young age. We learn that love feels safer when we're easy, that love feels more abundant when we're pleasing. Yeah, that approval that comes when we don't make anyone else feel uncomfortable, because heaven forbid we have dreams. Heaven forbid we go into this big like, oh, I've had this big idea and I feel super expanded and I want to go and do this like thing. And then you have someone else in your circle, whether that be a parent or a loved one or a friend, that's like, oh no, you can't do that. That's super risky. I wouldn't do that, right? But actually, we've got to remember that download that you've had on the thing you want to go do or the experience you want to experience is because your soul is speaking to you. It's telling you, like, this is something we want to go do. The friendship or the family member that then says, oh yeah, I wouldn't go do that, is because it's not their soul whispering that to them. It's not part of who they innately are. We've built this entire life from fitting in, thinking that if we make others uncomfortable, we won't therefore belong. And obviously, from a positive psychology perspective, belonging is so important to us as humans and as women, right? We've built this entire life around not disappearing, and it's become what it was never designed to be. We've shrunk. Yeah. No, we've not, right? It's the expansion. It's this one day that usually when we start to hit our perimenopause years in our 40s, that we start to wake up and think, I don't actually know what I want anymore. I don't actually know if it's me that's changing, if it's everything else around me that's changing. It's asking ourselves, like, do I still want to be in this relationship? Do I still want to be in this career or this job? Do I still want to live in this house or in this country? And we start to have all of these big downloads of self. This is your moment, right? This is not about I've changed and I've become difficult. It's actually around, it's not what your mum thinks. It's not what your dad thinks. It's not what anyone else thinks for you. It's not what people say you should do with your life, right? It's when was the last time you truly asked yourself, what do I want in this moment? So when we sit inside the energy of what it is that we truly want, it doesn't have to be like the big crazy ideas that we have for ourselves. Sometimes it is just a decision that we want to make. I was in my 40th year when I got my very first micro tattoo, because I'd grown up for years being told, if you get a tattoo and you come home with one of those, you will be thrown out. So I had innately developed this sense of, oh my God, I can't do that. I'll be homeless. I'll be, I'll not belong. I'll be abandoned. I'll be homeless. There was all of these kind of downloads that I had developed from that one thing being shared of not to get a tattoo. And it's not because I didn't want one. It's because my mum didn't want one. This is where, when we sit inside other people's energy, for us, we can see that actually the transference of their own wants, beliefs, it does have an impact on us, right? So yeah, now I have 3. Right? It's like the rebellious side of us can come out when we truly allow ourselves to be who we truly, truly are. I would say for my own self, menopause really opened up. Being very early in menopause at 35, that really opened up this whole new aspect for me, because I've shared as well in some of our educational episodes about how when we are entering into our perimenopause and journeying through that time of life, there are biopsychosocial changes that happen in our body for us and to us. And part of that change I experienced was a vast sense of self-connection, really, truly. And I know for many women we do. And sometimes that can show up in a sense of not really knowing who we are anymore, because we're not truly connected to maybe the life we're living, the friendships we have, the career we're in, the energy surroundings that we're in. And we've just woken up every day and pressed play, got on with the day, went to sleep, got up, pressed play, got on with the day, went to sleep. So over time, we start to lose the sense of who we truly are. But when we're sitting inside this energy of us, it's like, wow, like, yeah, I remember getting that very first tattoo. I got a little palm tree on my right lower back of my ankle. And then I got 2 little love hearts connecting on the inside of my elbow to represent the girls. So the palm tree is freedom, one of my biggest values, freedom. And the 2 interconnecting love hearts were for the girls to represent twins. And I remember coming away with them thinking, this is me. Like, they are so tiny. They are a tiny micro tattoo, but they are so important to me. And I absolutely do not give a flying F what anyone else thinks of them. And this is the most important part when we step into our truth. Who is the woman underneath all of those don't do this conversations you've had? The one who exists inside of your heart, the one who is still in there, and she is rebellious and apart because she's like, I've never experienced doing that. Have you ever skinny dipped in the ocean or in a loch or a lake or water? You know, if it's ever been on your mind that you've wanted to do that and just strip naked and run into the sea, have you ever done it? Because if you haven't, please do that, right? Tell yourself something about yourself that you truly want to do. An experience you want to have, something you want to have achieved. You know, maybe you've been waiting patiently on someone giving you the permission. I would love to be that person right now. Not that you need it, but I would want to be that person for you right now that says, this is your permission slip. Okay. I don't think that the biggest tragedy that we are reaching in ourselves and our life right now is the end of our life. I feel that the biggest tragedy is that we reach the end of our life and we haven't realized who we truly are. I remember jumping into bed beside my granny when she was passing. This was the day before she actually passed. And I grabbed a hold of her hand. She woke up briefly and I said to her, Granny, what is your one life regret if you have any? Everybody has them, right? And she said, do you know, I've had a really happy life. I've had a loving life. I've traveled the world. I've had the most amazing family. You know, she was sharing all the things that she's loved. And she said, the one regret that I've got in my life is that I didn't continue to learn to play the piano. Oh, and that to me was just like, oh my God, I want that. I want to be on my last breath when my grandchild says to me, Granny, what is your biggest regret? And I'm like, that I never actually continued playing the piano. That's one of mine. And maybe that is my thing now, is to go learn to do that, right? Because I want to. And because Granny's biggest regret was that I can live through her. She can live through me. This is the beauty. So as we start to think about this, right? Where have you stayed quiet? Where have you swallowed your opinions and never been honest? Where have you kept the peace? Where have you laughed politely instead of out loud, right? Where have you went, instead of like, oh my God, that's so funny. Where have you never worn the dress? I have an event coming up soon and it's all Devil Wears Prada 2 themed for a relaunch and a celebration. And I am wearing a massive big black ball gown to that event because for me, I am feeling this energy right now. No apologies. I will get on the train in a ball gown. I will walk the streets of Edinburgh in a ball gown because I want to. I want to be seen. I want to be heard. And I'm doing it loudly, not politely. Okay, I'm wearing the dress. Where have you never booked the trip? Where have you never said yes to something because actually you had no one to go with, but you want to go? Book it, go. Where have you never wrote the book? Right? These are all things that if you've ever sit back and thought, I want to do that and never taken action on it, please take the bloody action. That's the hardest part, is making the decision, not actually doing it, making the decision. Most of this, for most of us right now, if we're sat with things that we've always wanted to do inside our heart and inside our mind, that is an internalized prison built from years or decades of worrying what others will think, or maybe self-judgment. So where can you be honest with yourself right now? How many decisions have you not made because of other people? How many decisions have you made because of other people, because of judgment? Okay. This is so important from me to you. Please think about it for a second. How much of your life has been dedicated to other people and other things, or dictated by other people and other things? Wear the dress. Get on the train in the ball gown. Be too much. Be big. Be bold. Learn to salsa dance. Look ridiculous. Who cares? If you are having fun inside your moment, that is all that matters. Travel alone. Who cares what people will say, right? Have the relationship. Don't have the relationship. Start over. The amount of times that I work with women and they'll say to me, but I think I'm too old to start a business in my 40s or 50s or 60s. No, you're not. The majority of successful CEOs and entrepreneurs start their businesses in their 40s, 50s and 60s. I promise you, right? Trust me when I tell you this. Leave your hair to go grey, right? Grey blending is a huge big thing right now. Whatever you choose is right for you, right? Right for you. So important. Take up space. There is this little committee inside your head right now that is like, oh, every member has a different opinion, but none of them are innately you. And I wonder, whose voice are you still carrying right now from potential childhood? A teacher, a parent, a family member, an ex, a friend, because they rolled their eyes at you, or someone told you that you were too much in one sentence and you've ingrained that in your being. Judgment leaves echoes, right? Whether we notice it or we feel it or we hear it. Long after someone has left our life, their imprint is in us. It is left. But those echoes become this inner voice that can over time keep us small and caged. I always used to say when I worked in corporate, I used to say that it felt like I was a bird with my wings clipped and caged because I couldn't spread. I couldn't do who I truly needed to be. I couldn't become who I truly, truly was inside. And from 5 days out of 7 days of my life, I was a bird with clipped wings inside a cage. I couldn't be honest. I couldn't be me, right? And actually, I dread to think how many years of my life that took out of my cells. Because when we genuinely are ourselves, right, and we get to be, this is why you're here. You're not here to shrink. You're not here to blend in with everyone else. You're here to be you. And I think that there's this element of grieving that I've been going through myself over the last few years, not from the sense of loss of people in my life, but grieving the years that I truly spent in acceptance mode from others. Okay, I'm sure you're feeling this. Grieving the dreams that me, you, us quietly packed away and never actually went and took the opportunities for. Grieving the younger version of us who thought that we had to be something or someone else to be accepted and belong. Forgive, send so much love and compassion and forgive that version of you, because that's not weakness, that's survival. And we're not in survival right now, you and I. We are in our acceptance era. We are in our transformation era. We are in our wings are out. Both wings are out and we are flying era. I want to just leave you with this. I think that it's important that whenever we have these downloads, we sit with them and we recognize, we are not here to seek approval from others. We are here to live our life. So today, I want you to be the bravest you've ever been. And if bravery feels too big, then good. I simply just want you to be honest. Okay, where is it that you have been sitting inside the acceptance mode rather than the I want to do this, I am accepting of me? Where are you sitting inside pleasing others rather than pleasing yourself? Where are you sitting inside performing for others rather than just being truly, authentically you? And allow yourself to sit with that for a minute. Because when we finally decide that we are worth it, that we are worth listening to, and these downloads we want to do, we start living. I have been the happiest I have ever been in years right now, and yet have faced so much over the last few years, so much loss, losing 3 members of my family. There has been a lot of impact that if we think about, other people will constantly say to me, I don't know how you've survived through this, Adele. And I'm like, I haven't survived it. Okay, I've allowed myself to feel it. I've felt the sadness. I've felt the grief. I've honoured what's come up in the moments. I've honoured me. And actually, I've been on a healing journey, as we all will be at points in our life. I've grieved the version of me that was premenopausal, because I'm menopausal for the rest of my life now. I've accepted that. I've learned to love that, right? It's difficult at times because the symptoms can be so debilitating. I've grieved so many versions of me. I've grieved relationships with other people that because I became too much for them, and this was shared with me, believe it or not, because my success triggered them because I felt too much for them. They could no longer stay inside my energy and they chose to leave. And that is okay. I send them so much love because I will not shrink for someone else. I am not here to be small, and neither are you. So before we go, I want to leave you with this. You were not born worrying whether strangers approved of you. You didn't care what anybody thought of you. You learned this fear, which means that it can also be unlearned. Piece by piece, choice by choice, decision by decision, your life is your life. And one day this chapter will end. And when it does, I hope you've remembered how fully you've lived. And more importantly, not lived with any of those regrets that when you're asked, Granny, what's your biggest regret? That you actually just turn around and say something as trivial as not learning to play the piano. Remember yourself as a woman who chose yourself, not because it was expected, but because you chose yourself through full self-love and self-connection. Realize that you are here with purpose, on purpose. You have belonging here. Be yourself and choose one thing today that you can go do that you've always wanted to do for you. Make it happen. Make it part of your reality. Be truly, authentically you. This is your permission slip. And if this episode has felt good today, go share it. Let it do its thing. Ripple effect is powerful. And if you aren't already subscribed to the Menopause Coach Podcast, then please subscribe. It is what helps us to grow and reach more women around this beautiful big world. I am clapping for you right now. I am rooting for you right now. And if, like me, you want to walk the streets in ball gowns and just own it, own your energy of expansion, be seen, be heard, be authentically you, then please do something for you today that feels that way.